So, as always, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today, once again, bringing you guys and gals the latest chapter review of One Piece. Chapter 782, Evil's Champion. Now, this chapter starts off, and hold on, by the way, no live reaction this week because I'm fairly busy. Like, even tonight, I have stuff due, like, later on, at, like, 12 p.m. tonight, or 12 a.m. tonight. So, I'm like, okay, I have too much stuff to do. I need to go into AutoCAD and finish up all these models, so pretty much I'm busy. And I said, you know what, I'll forego the live reaction this week and I'll do one next week if I can. Now, that being said, this chapter, it starts off like massively strong. You're like, bro, Mugadee! Luffy and the former Tenryubito Don Quixote Doflamingo going one-on-one. It starts off very strong. Like, you're seeing Luffy and then Flamingo. Just their feet, arm and hockey up, and all of a sudden, a clash of Conqueror's hockey. Like, I don't know why it is. Like, I think the same thing went for Don Chinjao and Luffy. I'm pretty sure it did. Where when they have their clash of Conqueror's hockey, both of their fists were arm and hockeyed up. So for some reason, like, the clash of Conqueror's hockey coincides with the clash of arm and hockey. I suppose. At least that's what it's been so far. And, like, for example, like, we haven't seen someone hockey up, and then, like, you know, like when Luffy knocks out, like, all these fishmen, and then someone counteracts Luffy's hockey up with his own hockey up, and then their hockey's up, like, collide. Like, that would be, like, a genuine Clash of Conquerors hockey. So, but either way, point is that it was pretty cool. And then you have just the mountain, the shockwaves going all across the mountain. You're like, whoa, okay, so you're thinking, shit, like, let's get ready to rumble! And then they do. For, like, a good 5-6 pages. It's nothing but Luffy and Flamingo. Mainly Luffy. Luffy did some, you know, pretty cool shit. A lot of kicks. Like, he was moderate. Like, kick. First of all, Luffy does a roundhouse kick after Flamingo blocks him from stepping on Law, or vice versa. He blocks Flamingo from stepping on Law. Then Luffy does a roundhouse kick. And then Flamingo, he blocks that kick. Then he does a follow-up spinning high kick, which he also blocks when his hand gets, you know, thrown away. His hand gets blown back. Then Luffy does another kick, another roundhouse kick to the gut. So it was 3 pretty cool arm and hockey consecutive kicks. Then Luffy proceeds to punch Flamingo in the face with his left hand, and then continues to punch with that left hand. Like, first, then, yeah, I'm like, what the? That was good. And then he was gonna do the eagle bazooka. I'm like, okay, alright. So you're going from Hawks to Eagle, alright, I see where you're going here. And Flamingo dodges. And in the Manga Panda version, he follows up with this thing called Hamstring. In the Manga Stream version, it's called Athlete Thread, whatever. And Flamingo proceeds to kick Luffy into, like, one of the sides of the castle. So I'm like, okay, that was a very nice exchange. And then what happens, in comes Treyball, and then shit, like, honestly, the fight came to a screeching halt. I'm like, fuck. And listen, I understand why he's there. I understand that Treyball, he still has to be taken out because he's a top executive. Like, the way Oda works most of the time is that you won't have the main villain of the arc being beaten until the other sub-bad guys are beaten. This is Oda 101. It was the same thing in CP9, it was in Skypiea, it was in Fisherman Island. It's the same thing. The sub-bad guys have to be taken out or beaten before the main bad guy can, of this island, of this arc, whatever it is. And in this case, it's Flamingo. So the fact that Treyball was still there, you knew at some point he was going to be taken out before Flamingo was taken out. That's how it rolls. But to stop that fight, to stop that exchange on a screeching halt, by Treyball coming in there, like, you can't beat her, can't. I'm like, what are you doing? Get the fuck out of here. That really ruined the moment. Because I was digging it hardcore for like 8 pages. 7 pages, and then all of a sudden, Tribal. And then he goes on. I mean, first of all, we find out why he's pretty much been like unscathed for the most part of this entire arc. I mean, like, for example, he took Usopp's like shuriken plant things, and he got cut into pieces. And you're thinking, okay, so pretty impressive, because it was assumed that he was a Paramecia. But then he merged back, and you're like, wait, hold on. So if he can merge back, he's a Logia. And then it was followed up with Law's radio knife attack, where Law cut him into bits, or like in like, you know, not bits, but he cut him into like sections. And Tribal was still kicking after that. Like, I think Law stated that his radio knife attack could actually like damage Logia quite significantly. And still, we have Tribal, he's A-okay. So you're thinking, okay, so Tribal has some type of secret that's going on. Because honestly, Tribal, what he was doing before what it was revealed in the chapter about why he was not being hurt by these attacks that should have hurt him, I thought that Tribal was doing some like a Kainu shit, where he was like negating hockey attacks somehow, some way. Like he was like pre-dissolving, or he was like morphing, like Akainu did, or like Aokiji did back in, you know, Marine 4. That's what I was thinking. But no. Apparently he's just a skinny fucker. A really skinny fucker. The actual surface area of his body is very small compared to what's actually portrayed. Most of the body that you see is just completely, it's all goo, mucus, whatever it is, slime. And that's the main thing there. And then there's a flashback about how him and the top executives, how they first meet Flamingo. He knocked out all these dudes. They happen to be there. And then at that point in time, they said, you know what, we're going to follow you as our king, even though you're like 8 years old. Fucking knuckles down. Yeah. Bow down to the king. And you're like, okay, fine. So they're bowing down to the king. And they even did the bidding of Triple H. Like, okay, so some kids hurt Flamingo, or like some punks did, and then they killed the punks. Apparently the pavement was too hard on his legs, and they destroyed the entire town. So shit like that. Just showing their loyalty. How they pretty much... And Tribal even gave Flamingo, I think, his powers of the string Nomi as well as the pistol that he used all the damn time. So pretty much, yeah, these are the guys who pretty much... I wouldn't say that they were the cause of the Seed of Evil, but they were the ones who definitely exacerbated it to the point where you see Flamingo where he's like, you know, like the guy he is today. So without the top executives, he wouldn't be the man that he is today. Or at least it would have taken him much longer from a time standpoint to be in this position. However, still, even though it was fascinating, and then now you have him on doing some suicide shit because his goo is flammable, but at the same time, it's like, I don't really, like you took away from my moment. Like, you feel me? It's like, I see where you're going, and Oda does do it a lot, where he does deviate. Like, you have the main battle, and he'll, like, constantly deviate to, like, other shit. I don't want Oda to deviate from Luffy and Flamingo. Like, you could have Fujitora pulling out, like, 15 meteorites. I don't care. Don't deviate. Please. Because this is the final battle. This is what's going to set Luffy from a power standpoint. Well, okay, I can't say that fully because Flamingo was heavily wounded by Law beforehand. Without that Gamma Knife, Flamingo would have been spanking Luffy's attacks like it was nothing. Like he wouldn't joke. However, he is still wounded, though his strings are repairing his own organs. Again, very impressive. But I just want to see Luffy in like a serious all-out fight. And this is the chance because Flamingo's wounded. But when you have pauses and screeches and halts within this process, even though they are interesting in themselves, I don't really care that much. So I do acknowledge that what happened with Tribal and what is happening with Tribal currently is important to the story. And it's something that Oda's done time and time again. However, I don't care that much because, again, you have Luffy and Flamingo. You tease something pretty cool. You start this shit off with the Clash of Conquerors hockey with their fucking feet. And then we just go away from that. I mean, we even have a little scene of the freaking Tontada. Like, oh my god, like, something happened and, like, we feel better. It's like, who gives a fuck? I know I don't. Shit. Alright, so the chapter overall. The beginning is strong. Very strong. Too strong. Yeah. But everything else, yeah, it's important. Kind of, sort of ish. But no. The wrong time. The wrong time. I think it's the wrong time. Like, let's say that you had Luffy. Oh, no, let me just not stop rambling. It is what it is. So you get my point. You get my point. All right. So that being said, King of Lightning. Overall, the chapter. I think it's a good chapter. It could have been great. It could have been amazing if Oda had stuck with the fight. But no. He decided to deviate. I can see why. But still, in my opinion, not the best time. So it is what it is. Rate the video. Comment, subscribe as always. Not that hard. Comment. Yeah. And rate the mouse. Again, it's very easy. Click a click. Have a nice one.